Hi guys, today I'm going to show you how to upgrade the worm shaft bushing on the Daiwa T3 to a bearing. First off, we're going to need the reel. We're going to need a small jeweler screwdriver. We're going to need a 10mm socket. We're going to need a bigger Phillips screwdriver. We're going to need some reel grease. This is the one that I used, the Quantum Hot Sauce. And we're going to need the bearing. This is the model number that you can order from Boca Bearings. Just make sure as long as the dimension is right, it's fine. You can get them from www.bocabearings.com. Now, just a word of advice, if you're not comfortable with opening up your reel, do not attempt this. This is a lot more complicated than some of the other tutorials that I've done before about the spool bearings or the handle knob bearings or stuff like that. This one would actually require you to take the entire reel apart. Now, if you want to be sure, I would suggest you to watch the whole video first before you actually attempt to do it, and then you can just follow along. And also, make sure that you have a clean working surface where you can lay the parts that you take out. It's going to make it a lot easier to do. Now, so let's get started. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to remove the side plate and the spool. Just press on the button, remove the cover, and the spool comes out as well. So we're going to put those items aside. The next thing we're going to do, we'll start this taking the reel apart. We're going to have to remove the screw first. Take your Phillips screwdriver. Just take it out. Now I recommend you to put everything in order so you don't mix it up. Take this plate off, put it aside. Take your 10mm socket. Now, if you have a left-hand retrieve reel, you turn clockwise. If you have a right-hand retrieve reel, you turn counterclockwise to remove the nut. Once it's loose, you just remove your hand. Do not try to take the nut off with a pair of pliers or anything like that. You're going to risk scratching the nut. Just remove the handle. Put everything in order, and then remove the drag star. Hold on to the shaft, and then just remove it. Just like that. Now, at this stage, if I were you, I would take the whole drag star out along with all the washers, so that way you don't have to worry about what order they go in on. Okay, this one comes off just like this. You leave it down. And then this is where the clicker and the drag spring washer assembly is. Just take the whole thing out just like this without messing up with the order of it. That way you don't have to remember. Just put this aside. Okay, now that you have the whole handle assembly off, we're going to start by taking these screws out right here. Now, I would actually suggest using a flathead screwdriver to loosen them up first. So that way you won't strip the heads of the screws. Just be careful when you're working with it. Go slow because you don't want the screwdriver to scratch the body of the reel. Now that I loosened the screws, I'm just going to switch back to a Phillips screwdriver and then just remove all the screws. You don't have to take the screws out. You can do what I do. If you do, just remember which one they go to. Once you loosen everything, you can just take it off with the screws intact and put the whole reel aside. Now, what you're going to see, this is what you're going to see once you open it. We're going to remove the main gear with it. Now, if you bought the reel brand new, chances are you would realize that they didn't put a lot of grease on it. You can grease up the gears to make the reel smoother. Word of advice, do not get any of the grease onto the drag washer. Otherwise, you're going to lose drag power. So just be careful. So just take the main drive gear off with the collar. You're going to notice that there's a washer on top. Do not lose it. There's a collar here as well. Put that aside. We're also going to be removing the pinion gear along with this assembly right here. So we're just going to take the whole thing off. Put it aside. Be careful, there's 2 springs on each side. We'll put that aside. And then we're going to take this out. Again, just remember where everything goes. Do not forget, don't mix it up. Now what you're going to see is just the bare reel, and you're going to see the Wormshaft gears. Now this is not going to come off just like that. What you're going to need to do is to remove the C-clip here. So to remove the C-clip, we're going to be using a small screwdriver. And before we do that, we also have to disengage the level wind assembly right here. You need to press the clutch and then to make it easier. Take a flathead screwdriver and then loosen this up. Again, put everything aside, do not lose it. You're going to see a pawl here. So all you have to do is to remove that. If you have a pair of pliers, it will come in really handy. If it doesn't come off, just move it around, just like this. It's going to pop out. You'll see that it popped right out. All you have to do is remove it just like that. Okay? Now we're going to be removing the C-clip. You can see that this now moves freely along, so nothing is going to block the worm shaft from coming out. Take the small screwdriver, put in the hole of the C-clip, just like here, and you're going to pry it off. Just be careful, the C-clip might fly. Okay. Now you have the C-clip off. You can just push it. Now make sure this part, there's a groove that comes out. Chances are it might come off. Just remember how it goes. And remember there's a washer right here. This brass thing is actually a washer that it might fall off. So just be careful. Okay, all we need to do is to remove the worm shaft, and chances are the bushing is going to come right out. If it doesn't, it's probably just stuck in here and you can just take it off. We're going to put the reel aside, take the bushing out. This is the bushing, and we're going to be replacing it with the bearing. All you need to do is to pop the bearing in. Some people like to use oil on these bearings. I like to use grease, simply because this is not a high-speed part. Grease would actually prolong the life of the bearing, and I find that it works easier. To actually put grease on the bearing, this is what I like to do. I don't have a grease packer, but I think this worked well for me so far. Just keep on pushing the grease in. And do it for both sides. And then just slide the bearing in. Make sure you wipe your hands, it's going to get everywhere.